Hello everyone, and welcome to St Albans, and also welcome to our brand new channel. I'm sitting here on plot 79, and before we get into anything on this channel, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to you a little bit about both myself and Sergio, my partner, a little bit about our allotment plots, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how we see this channel evolving and what we're expecting to get out of it. So Sergio and I have been together for over 9 years now. Actually, we celebrated our 9th anniversary during summer this year. We met during the 2012 Olympics, and it was just one of those things where one day we met, and then ever since then we've just been together. We're a really good team. We do a lot of traveling together, and we work together really well, especially on places like this at the allotment, and we're always there to support each other and back each other up whenever we need to. We moved to St Albans about 8 years ago, so a year after we met, we moved to St Albans, and then more recently we got our dog, who I'm sure you will see on the channel, and if that isn't reason enough to subscribe, then I don't know what is. So moving on to the plots. As I say, I'm sitting on plot 79 today talking to you. We actually took over plot 79A at the start of 2019, so February 2019 is when we took over the half plot 79A. That was the first thing we took on. We did a lot of work really quickly to build a greenhouse, build some raised beds, build a pond, and just try to renovate it and clear it of all the carpet and everything as quickly as possible. And then at the start of 2020, before everything got really bad, we actually applied for an extension for the full plot 79. So we ended up getting that approved, and now we have the full plot 79, which is actually a pretty big plot. I think it's about 33 meters by 6 meters. And then unfortunately at the end of 2020, so in October 2020, plot 79 flooded because we had very, very bad rainfall all throughout the end of summer actually. One of our sister sites flooded before we did, but we ended up flooding at the start of October. Our plot was one of the first to flood, and for a while it was just a few on this side of the site. So it's a bit lower down here on the south end of the site, and only a few of us flooded, but we flooded for quite a long time. But then by January, around about January time, the rain was so bad that, and it just did not stop raining all of winter, and the rain was so bad that most of the site ended up flooding. And then it also froze at the start of January too. And then slowly the water did eventually start to go, but because our plot is one of the first to flood, it's also one of the last to clear. And we ended up not having a completely dry plot until around about June-ish, July-ish time. I think it was the end of June, potentially, that it was like dry enough that we could probably start to do stuff. Like this greenhouse that we bought off of another plot, we ended up having to just wait for ages. We kind of started to move it, but then didn't finish moving it by the time the flooding came back, because it did go down and it kind of came back up a few times. It didn't completely clear. I think there was maybe 2 weeks in the whole 9 months that it was flooded, that it was dry enough to be able to walk around on without wellies, but it quite quickly came back, and yeah, we were just really stuck for a while. So we ended up asking the council for some help, and after a while, and they ended up offering us a few other plots on the same site that we could move to, and we ended up choosing plot 12, which is actually almost completely on the opposite corner of the site, and it's one of the highest points on the site. So plot 12, I don't think actually that during the whole of the flood, when most of the site was underwater, I don't think plot 12 was ever visibly flooded. It definitely was soggy, and most of the site was damp and difficult to walk on. It was really treacherous and it was really bad. We couldn't even get to plot 79 without waders on, because it was kind of up to our chest because it's so low here. But yeah, plot 12 didn't flood visibly at all. So we decided to take that one on. It's the reason that I'm talking to you from plot 79 is because this is the one that we've had the longest. It's had the most work. We've built this seating area. Plot 12 is way behind, and it's at the moment we have had some produce off of it, but there's nowhere to sit. There's not a very good shed on there, and it just needs a lot of work, and we will obviously be sharing that progress as we go, but at the moment it's just not somewhere where you can really just go and have a sit and have a cup of tea. Everything was on plot 79. Plot 12 is more of a contingency for us at the moment, because we don't really know if plot 79 is ever going to flood that badly again. We've been told it's like once every sort of 10 years that it floods that badly. So if that's all it is, then that's fine, we can live with that. But if it happens again this year, then we need to make a decision on whether we want to give up plot 79 or keep both permanently, so that we will always have at least a contingency to be able to work on during the winter months when it's likely to flood. Because we really do love the allotment, we really love being down here, we put a lot of time into it. We specifically tried to find houses to live nearby so that we can get here quickly and spend the most amount of time here that we can. We love bringing Poppy down here, we love obviously eating the stuff that we produce, but we also like renovating greenhouses and building seating areas and just taking a piece of land that needs some love and turning it into something that we're really proud of. So that actually segues quite nicely into what we're expecting to get from the channel. So in terms of how we're expecting our channel format to work and what we're expecting to kind of get from it, we've been talking about doing a YouTube channel for probably over a year now. We have been very inspired by a few other channels, especially recently, but we have been talking about doing this since before the flooding last year and during the lockdowns and things. We do spend a lot of time down the plot. We are very proud of the work that we do, and we also want to be able to give back to the gardening community, because there's just so much information out there on YouTube, on Gardener's World, for example, and our parents, and Instagram. There's so much information out there for free, and we want to be able to give back in some way, as well as be able to document what we're doing and share what works and what doesn't work for us. Which leads me to an important point. We don't want this to be the sort of channel where we're trying to say, if you do this, your crops will be a million times bigger. It's not really about that. We're never going to pretend to be the experts in anything. We're learning as we go, and this is as much for us as it is for other people. We want to be able to document what we're doing, and we want to be able to share what works and what doesn't work. Some of the channels that we've been inspired by do very similar sorts of things. So there's Eco and Beyond. There's also Jesse at it's not plot 79, plot 37, and naturally JB. So Eco and Beyond have recently, well, I wouldn't say recently now, but they bought some land and some property in Portugal, and they're renovating it, and it just always feels like a really big scale version of what we do at the allotment. They obviously do a lot more stuff, like they're replacing parts of their building, and but they're also improving their land, and they're building stuff, and they're learning as they go, and they're doing all the research, and they're also then documenting it and sharing it with the world so that the world can learn from it, and they can also look back and see their progress. And it's very much the same with Jesse and JB as well. They very rarely say this is what you should be doing. It's more like this is what we're doing, this is what I'm doing, and if you want to do it you can try too, but we'll let you know what the outcome is. And that is really kind of what we're expecting ours to be like as well. We hope that we don't ever turn into those preachy sort of people that try to say this is the best way of doing it, because we don't know that. We just know what has been working for us and what hasn't been working for us, and we want to be able to share that with the world. So we hope you found this introduction to our channel interesting, and I hope it kind of sets the groundwork a little bit and sets the scene a little bit for how we're expecting things to work, and also helps you understand what we mean when we talk about plot 12 versus 79. So we often just call them 79 and 12 because they're on the same site. I hope you will consider subscribing, and I hope to see you again in the next video. So from myself, Sergio and Poppy, take care, and we'll see you soon. So I hope you found this introduction video helpful. I hope you consider, so I hope you found that interesting. The channel, if you hear about, so I hope that you found this video interesting, and that, so I hope, now the sun's gone.